Jesse Valley, this is Jesse, and we're going to be giving an update on Axel. So if all of you remember, Axel was attacked in a bathroom, and they tried to say it was a bunch of different reasons and yada yada. And anyway, now we have the final verdict, you might say. So this is Axel's mom, and I'm going to go ahead and let her take the podium, you might say.
Okay, well, I guess it's just part of it. I mean, people, I don't know where to start again. Yes, we do have a verdict. He was found guilty. You know, that's...
Was found guilty?
I don't know if we can say his name, right? Can we say his name now? We can call him Jay, I guess.
Are we allowed to say his name?
I would say his name because he's a minor. So
yeah, so we wouldn't. So yes, Jay was found guilty. First thing I want to clear up, there's all this rumor, and I know everybody's seen the video, right? They haven't seen my videos from, you know, because I've kept those pretty public or private from sharing those with people of the threatening that we were talking about from the 28th. And why I came on here today was really to kind of address what's going on with Axel at school and what's happened because of all this and where the punishment has lied. I do want to clear up, though, that this whole thing about Axel beating up some autistic kid and everything else, nobody was hurt. There is not one other child that was hurt. Not one. I've said this from the beginning. That video was called a friendly fade. If you don't know what that is, it's on TikTok. Look it up. It was from Monday. Him and another student were horse playing around, or whatever you want to say. I didn't even have a clue about that until after we had gone to the principal's office. Okay, so we've all seen this video. In this full video that I have, that we've seen, that's been submitted to the court, it had nothing to do with Wednesday. It wasn't Axel on top of some kid vengefully beating the crap out of him, and so he felt like he needed to go in. It wasn't a repeat or anything. What happened was there were two kids being idiots, and Axel had no business being in there, absolutely. But then what happened was this kid took it upon himself to go in on a Wednesday and beat the holy hell out of my son to the point where he was hospitalized and hurt extremely bad. And for the people making ignorant comments about you only have 12 bones in your face, you can break a bone more than once. Doesn't mean just because you have 12 bones, only 12 bones can break. That's how bad the damage was. So going with that, we went through mediation. They pled guilty. They had a chance to admit all the evidence just like we did. There was no shaky deal. There was no anything. They went in front of a judge just like we did, and we were all amicable. I did not do this to ruin this kid's life. I didn't do that. I advocated for both boys, and I've done that from the very beginning. I feel like I've done a good job with that. Okay, I'm not here to destroy him. I'm not saying kids don't make dumb things, but what happened to my son was not fair, and it was unjust. And the part that is extremely unjust was the school.
Right, that's the part we want to talk about.
Yeah, the school knew, okay, this is the other part. Why aren't you coming forward and saying on Monday, neither child was hurt right now? The other child was not hurt at all. In the witness statement from their own SRO officer, he states, Axel did not hurt me. I was in no part of Wednesday's incident. All that I did was get him up to a bathroom. That's what it stated. Okay. After that, he came in the bathroom and beat the holy hell out of him. So the school knew about Monday that neither boy was hurt. There wasn't a scratch on him. My mom and I both saw, 2 minutes after when we got to the school where they were all sitting in the office, everybody but. So if he was trying to be so vengeful, why did he run out of a bathroom, leaving my son bleeding on a floor? And another child that was taping, he was so traumatized, he couldn't even talk. His own mom called me the week later and had to pull him out of school because he was being targeted. I mean, this got really scary. This wasn't
and
just
the school knew about it.
And the school knows about it. And they knew. And so for now, what happened was, even after that case, so fast forward, we're now waiting for Axel to go to some school. They didn't give us any curriculum. And when we talk about the special ed kid, my kid is the special ed kid. Axel's the one on the IEP. Axel has a 57 IQ. Do you think this is good that I want to talk about how slow Axel is? Axel has so many redeeming qualities, and that's not what defines him. It's not his special needs. But what's upsetting is that all that support has been pulled away from him with no accountability, none.
And when we talk about the support, we're talking about the
We're,
school.
we're talking about his special ed
Yep.
teachers, the aides, the classroom aides, all of it. We lost all of it. And not one person, not one came up with curriculum for Axel when he was out of school. Not one.
And you've asked him to?
Absolutely, that's part of his plan. All that I got was after I started making social media, this platform, is then I got a call from Lance Hansen asking, can we meet up and talk? And by that, the damage was done. It was done. Like, what do you do? What's the point of sitting down with a superintendent that not only released vile statements, but then when they could have cleared up these vile statements and said, no, look, these boys that happened on Monday's incident has nothing to do with why this child got hurt, and I am very sorry to this family.
Right. He could have clarified.
He could have. And then not only that, but once we made the decision to move Axel schools where there's not a special ed teacher, he's there for 1 hour a day, that we sat with the superintendent and Peggy, the special ed school district, and the other teachers, Sabrina, that he had worked with and all that stuff. They sat there and said, okay, well, we'll give Axel this support out there and we'll make sure he's taken care of. That never came to fruition. Not only has it not come to fruition, but when we've gone back and gone over his IEP with his team, we're basically being poo-pooed off. I'm having to go through state mediation. I'm having to go through all these steps of just fighting for what Axel is promised.
Just at the regular school level.
Yeah, just at a regular school level. I've had to hire an attorney. I'm having to file a tort claim against the school. I am doing everything that I can because it is not right. And people keep wanting to focus on the boys, and it's like, why aren't we focusing on the school?
Right. Because there was a history of this prior.
To everything.
Yes,
and the bullying, and anybody that knows me knows that this had been a thing. That these boys had been squabbling since 7th or 8th grade. Like I said, that didn't change. But the school was all aware of that. The SRO even admitted that.
Mm-hmm.
She was the 7th, 8th grade SRO, and she said, yes, I was well aware of the dynamic of those boys. Absolutely. And by their own admission, why we moved Axel schools is because when my mother and I sat in that school, they said, I'm sorry, we cannot keep your child safe. So as a mom, I'm supposed to send him back with the same people that did this to him, the same teacher, and I shouldn't say teachers. There were teachers in the school that they didn't even tell what was going on. Had no clue until they saw your guys' social media post and went, oh my God, I know my mom.
Mm-hmm. Because
my mom's been a special ed teacher. And said, what can we do to help Axel? And sent letters, and we're like, and I'm so thankful for the people that have supported Axel, that aren't spewing this trash, because at the end of the day, the only thing that I can think of too is, how do people justify the fact that this is okay? There is not one other child that was hurt in this whole incident. Like I said, in that video that you all supposedly saw from Monday, they were standing.
Mm-hmm.
Axel was not on top of him. Axel didn't beat him. There was no blood. There was nothing. They went back to school. They went back after their lunch hour. They completed their day. They completed the next day. And it was Wednesday at lunch when all this happened. Axel was not on top of him. Axel was not beating on anybody.
Right. It was just an excuse.
It was just an excuse. And I have played nice, and I've played nice, and I've played nice, and I've played nice, and I don't know what to do anymore. I didn't want to take it to this again. I don't enjoy putting this on a public platform, but I just feel like I need support. I need help.
So we want to help. So where do you think the problem starts? So if we think of the school itself, who in the school, or maybe above the school itself, where do you think the problem lies?
I think it's the superintendent, the principals, the people that are supposed to be on our child's team. My first problem was with, you had a child that was bleeding in an office for 2 hours with no medical attention, that was a type 1 diabetic, and your first thought was not to get him any help. If you're not for your child, whether it's mine or your own, then get the out of there. Excuse the French.
Right. No, you're fine.
That's how I feel. If you're not there advocating for children or for the purpose of the betterment of the whole school system, then find a different job, because corruption is everywhere. And it's not me. You can blame me. You can blame this. But it's not.
Right? There's got to be a root to that corruption.
Absolutely. And the root is the people that are trying to undermine this, the people that are excusing it and giving passes to a protection order so the kid that did this can still attend school functions. So that's one more thing taken away from Axel.
See, and that's if there's a restraining order or a protection order,
Yep.
and the school should honor that, and the child at fault that has it against him should not be rewarded.
No, and this child has now been found guilty. So when they sat there and said, this isn't a school issue, this happened at school.
That is a school issue.
This is a school
and they
issue.
Need to honor the...
And they need to honor it, and they never did. Or come forth and say, you know what? Yeah, this happened. This was horrible.
So how far up the line do you think that goes?
Don't know. Because then again, once again, when Lance Hansen kind of got a piece of information, then he started releasing HIPAA informations about Axel, about him having infection, which that's not how it went at all.
Yeah,
it was Axel got his bones broken. He had to have reconstructive surgery. So when he was in there, he was having problems with, his numbers and everything else. And so when he came out, they put him on an antibiotic because that's just a precaution. 2 days later, that dropped his potassium, that boosted him into the ketoacidosis, which then life-flighted him and landed him in the hospital. That was all in correlation to the fight. That wasn't because he was just a type 1 diabetic.
Right. That was because
of the fight, the direct result of the fight at the school. And like I said, they know all of this. They know all of it. They saw the kid, they know all of it.
So what interest, and this is all speculation, but what interest do you think they're trying to protect? What was the...
Themselves, because I get it. You have to be accountable, but now they've dug their hole so deep that they've released these statements of, these were just boys horse playing or anything. People, because does it make sense to you that now you have a kid that has been found guilty, he hasn't been kicked out of school. You have a kid that's been found guilty. Now he's allowed to go to school functions like basketball games.
And be around other kids.
And be around other kids. You have a kid that's, a mom actually messaged me, like another person's mom, and said the same kid was threatening her child to go kill herself and everything. These kids are scared to come forward, like I said, because it's a cycle. And so the school has this weird, I don't know what you call it, cycle, I guess, and that they would really have to do some changes. And right now, I know it's hard to hire people.
Right.
I know you're already short-staffed. So if you start taking out people and having to replace those people when you don't already have replacements, what are you going to do? We have a problem.
So you want more accountability from, say, the super.
I want them to come forward and say, there was not another student hurt. I want them to say, that was a Monday incident, this was a Wednesday incident, and Axel was really hurt. And no, we have not done anything about it. We have not given any support for his schooling. And not only have they not given any support, but now that he's out there and I'm fighting for his rights because he is a special ed kid that does have an IEP, and we are well versed in what the state rules and regulations are, that they are supposed to follow his IEP, is now they're saying, well, bring him back. Well, now that this other kid's guilty, bring him back to Lewiston High School. That's how they're solving this.
I'd be like, what about the other kid?
What about the other kid? No, with supervision, he's allowed to go to basketball games, and so that part of their protection plan is okay.
Back when I was a kid, you get in a fight and you got kicked out of school. If you were the main aggressor, you got expelled.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what happened with expulsions now? Are they not allowed to
Remember, because he wasn't found guilty, it was an appropriate punishment for suspension.
But now, since he's found guilty,
we're just going to brush it under the rug because they thought that I would go away.
But you're not gonna.
No.
And so now accountability needs to happen.
And now accountability needs to happen. And I'm not moving Axel back to LHS. That's not going to happen. There are wonderful things out there that's happening for Axel, but the educational part of it, they need help. And there's more kids like Axel out there. They have 16 kids with IEP plans that are special ed kids. And they have one teacher out there for 1 hour a day that's a special ed teacher.
That they pull from their regular classes, go to
To try to
this
get
class.
the support. So now, if we pull you out of history, if we pull you out of math, or if we're doing like general studies, and God bless those teachers that do that though, that help those kids that are the misfits, that don't belong, because they wear so many hats and they are amazing people. And if it wasn't for them, I'd have a kid right now getting no education, 0.
Right.
But God bless them because they've stepped up and filled the shoes that they should have not had to fill. Promises by taking him on. And that's even what we addressed at our last meeting was, we don't really have what Axel needed. We took him knowing his situation.
That's what they told you?
Yeah.
Right.
And that we're trying to accommodate him the best that we can. And I said, this isn't your problem though. This is LHS's problem.
Right.
This is the school system's problem. And Axel didn't put himself there. And I don't care. And you know what? The moms and the grandma and whatever else, I have been a part of all this. I didn't see them there in the office. Their kid wasn't in the office. I was, and so was my mom. We all saw Axel. I also was there when he attacked, my other son the same day. Let's talk about that when he said he pushed other. Was that Tavish's fault too? Because I was there for that one when we were picking up his trumpet.
Right, just shows the character of.
Yeah, it just shows the character. And I have text messages from the kid right after that saying, you know who is leading? Your brother, Axel.
Just keeping on.
Keeping on.
With the bullying.
Yeah. And yet this is, this vengeful, really heartfelt, hurtful kid that didn't mean to do what he did.
No. It's not a heartfelt, hurtful kid. He grew up knowing that's the way you treat people, and he learned it from people in his life.
Yeah, and now, like I said, I'm not trying to ruin his life. That's not what I was doing at all. What I was trying to do was try to get him some help while helping my kid. Mm-hmm. Because showing my son that you don't matter. What happened to you, there's no accountability there. Like I said, there is no punishment that I can give Axel for a stupid friendly fade on Monday. He learned his lesson, and if he didn't, then I don't know. But I can tell you what, that he's a kid that has been there for other kids. He has spoke out against bullying, even when people personally attacked him. I mean, you saw that video, and people were saying, oh, what the fuck are you doing? Why should you even be here? Gross. Gross. And it was just to promote kindness, of saying, you know what, I really appreciate the people that have stood by me, even if it was 3 people.
Right. Do you think the other child's parents have, I wouldn't say disciplined them, or do you think they're on, do they understand
Honestly,
what the child has done?
I'm tired of protecting them. No, I know for a fact the mom probably has no clue what the child is doing, because from what I know, he's with the dad. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is. And she's got other kids just like I have other kids, but she's chosen to kind of let the other parent be involved with these kids. And it's pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to keep everything out, and they can attack me. And like I said, I have lots of kids and lots of failed relationships, but I have nothing to hide, because at the end of the day, I've raised every single one of them, and not one of them have gone and hurt somebody else.
And aren't bullies.
And aren't bullies. And if people want to
I've seen some of those videos too, and if anybody talked to me like that,
it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
No way.
And how do you tell somebody that they're going to be their bitch every day, going to make you taste
their dick?
Yeah, taste my cum.
Yeah. I would lose my shit.
And yet this is just happenstance that they just happen to go in that bathroom on a Wednesday and just, Yep. Yeah. That's what I said. This is gross. It's all gross. And the way that the school is handling it is gross. The fact that Axel is having to uproot all of his stuff is not fair.
Right. Why does the victim have to uproot? Why does the victim have to
Because it's easier. Because it's easier. What I'm seeing is that most people get tired of fighting. Most people get so worn down, because if you don't think that I'm not worn down and upset and emotional, you're nuts. But I'm so sick of seeing it and hearing it and watching it. Like I said, it's not just with my kid. I have so many others that have reached out, but they're just like, what's the point? It goes away in 5 years. In 5 years, it won't matter. But in 5 years, it does matter because the same shit is happening to different kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same people that are running it.
Is there any black and white literature, anything like that, that you found that directly goes against how they're going about?
Yeah, it's his IEP. That's absolutely. Are you talking about like going against like his?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all in his IEP. Absolutely. Like I said, I don't like to put out there that Axel only has a 57 IQ, but with that, anybody that has a special needs kid knows what that entails. And just because he's higher functioning, like he can talk verbally or that he can interact, yeah, that's taken a lot of years of exposing Axel to therapies and talking and teaching him. But in that IEP, there are certain things that he needs to be accommodated to.
Who do we go to that's above the school that enforces that?
That's what I've had to do. So now on, I think it's Tuesday, now I go to a state mediation because I had to call down to Boise because they are denying the request for Axel to get his time and education where he's at because they don't have the people, and it's not their fault. It's LHS and saying, well, bring him back to the school. Well, we can't do that because it doesn't fit our schedule, so bring Axel back here. Have Axel come back to the school. The same school where the same kid is, now he's been found guilty and everything else. Like,
isn't LHS supposed to be something about Lewiston's high school is different than the rest of the high schools in Idaho? They were like an advanced or some kind of.
We're like number 50 something. I don't want to give,
Well,
but no,
it's a different educational thing, but they did a different type of. Trying to think of what it's called. They are like a trial and error kind of a thing. They try new things out on Lewiston. It's
STEM
a
school or
something like that.
Yeah.
It's a.
I have no idea. Like, yeah, all I know is that we're ranked very low.
I know Lewiston is ranked very, very low on educational stats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comparatively.
And I would imagine it starts with mental health
And not having
and not
enough
having
people.
support and not having enough people. And like I said, there are wonderful teachers that step up and that fill
So
those
do they not have a
voids.
job title to fill that position, or they just don't have anybody to fill the job title?
I just don't think they want to pay anybody to be out there because that would take away
And
from
then
their $1
that
million,
would violate- yep.
football stadium.
Right?
Like, I know I'm gonna get so much backlash for this crap, but it's
No,
the
everybody
truth.
knows that they spent more money on.
Yeah, and I don't care.
Sports.
Have your sports, have your football stadium. I don't give a shit. What I give a shit about is the education. And when we have a problem like this, we have to be able to fund it, correct it, and go on with our lives. It shouldn't affect that, okay, do we buy this or pay a teacher?
Right.
Nobody sees something wrong with that. And if that's not the case, then
Wouldn't
what's
that be
the
something
problem?
if they are choosing football over special ed?
well, I
mean,
mean,
think about it.
what I mean, if you, yeah, seriously, think about it, because in their eyes, what does special ed bring to the table?
Nothing, just more.
A lot of people feel like that, yeah. And
Yep.
let's just be honest. But you know what? They're still wonderful kids, and they still can do things, and they still can bring things to the table. Just because they're not high functioning, their disability doesn't define who they are.
Right.
And it doesn't justify for somebody to do what they did. And it doesn't justify for me having to fucking fight every day.
And if they have it wrote down, if it's in black and white, they should stick to it.
They're
Especially
going to
if they're-
have to.
They're going to have to
This is
now.
why. And I shouldn't have to. Even the attorneys have said that. We should not have had to go into court and fight for this. We should have settled out of court long time ago.
And somebody should have been hired.
And I've tried to be amenable. I have tried to be accommodating. I have tried to be nice. I really have. All that I'm doing is just bringing awareness to what was going on because I didn't know what else to do.
I wonder if this is like, I know a city council wouldn't, but the board, the school board, don't they have meetings? And
They
then
do, but here's the thing with that. Who's on the school board? People that are already handpicked, whether it be Lance Hansen or whatever, that's already kind of premeditated. That's what deterred me from that. It's going to be other parents speaking out and coming together and saying, hey, this happened to my kid, and not be scared to say,
Right.
my kid was, and even if they're not special ed, there's so many kids that have been bullied or that have been, where they've had to go out to Tammany or, ended up going to niche. but they don't want to say anything because it's kind of like my situation. They still have kids at LHS. I don't care. I have a kid at LHS that does fine, but I also have a kid that's not at LHS and is not fine.
Right. Kind of makes you wonder how the superintendent can know about this issue and be voted as superintendent of the year and then turn around and leave for what, Kennewick? And on some glorious, look at me, I did a good job and now I'm going to get a better paying job kind of a thing. Like, I don't understand
do
that.
you really want to know what I think it is? I think that knowing that the tort claim that has been filed, I think that there's other lawsuits that this is going to open up. And I hope it does. And I hope that people start speaking out.
You hope other parents.
Yeah, that start speaking up and say, hey, this is what happened. Or, you know, kind of start exposing him. Because at that point, maybe he's going to be unhireable. Maybe he's trying to get a job before the wool is pulled off.
Right.
So the wolf will be exposed.
Because he knows about it.
Sheep he's been playing.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, he knows about it. He tried calling me several times. And at first, I wanted to speak with him, but after talking to the attorney and everything, and like I told you, what was the point? The damage had been done. You know when you should have called me is when I called with those videos on the 28th of August.
Right.
And said, hey, I've got a real problem and this kid's threatening, and I've gone to your principal and I've gone to the superintendent and I've gone to whoever else that you know.
Right. You did the proper.
Yeah, did the proper protocols for, and that I went and I talked and I'd call my mom and I would just cry and I'm like, you know, what am I supposed to do? And then people would email me. Email this person, email Leslie something, and she's part of the state, or email this person, they're part of the special ed program. I did all that. This is why I'm just like, and it got me nowhere.
So now we need to do this.
And so now this is where I'm like, you know what, it seems like maybe with people being more exposed to social media, maybe this will get people. And like I said last time, I don't care. I know this is a small town, but I don't have anything to lose. Hate me or love me. It is what it is.
There's nothing to hate. That's the thing. You're just.
Oh, there's plenty of people that try to, like I said, twist that story. But when you, like I said, follow the facts. You saw one video. And in that video, if we are being honest, like I said before, there are two boys standing at the end of that video. They are slap fighting. We have all seen the video. Everybody else in the valley has seen the video. So let's tell the truth. And that video was from Monday. It wasn't from Wednesday. That Wednesday incident, you told another student to get my son and do what's called a run back, which means another rendition of the video from Monday. And when he got up, squared up with their little video, that's when Jay came through the bathroom with two other people. And they surrounded the kid that had the camera, made him delete the video. If he was innocent, why wouldn't they have wanted to keep that video to show? Why did they make it? And you don't think that I didn't try to get that off Snapchat, but because how they swiped it, it's gone.
I hate Snapchat for
that
reason.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I found everything else. Same with, I found the full video, not just the clip of them fighting in the little stalls or whatever it was. Yeah. And like I said, TikTok, it's called Friendly Fade. And that's what it was on Monday. And the school knew about it. They even said, that the principal admitted, they said the boys were horseplaying.
Yep.
That's what's all bullshit about this. It's time to come forward and admit and stand with the family and say, yeah, we messed up.
And we're going to correct this IEP issues, and we're going to get this.
Yes, and that's all I've asked. That's all I've asked. I don't give a shit about money. I don't care about any of that. Like, all I want is for my son to be safe and have his educational needs met. That's all I'm asking.
I wonder how many other parents have their child's IEPs not being followed.
A lot.
Maybe they need to speak up too and say something.
That's what I do say. If you guys, if any parents out there want to come forward.
They message me, but I need them to message actual you guys, to message principals of, you know, we stand together and we get loud. And if I have to be the front face of it, then I will be. I'm not scared. Axel deserves better. Axel deserves justice. Justice wasn't coming from a guilty verdict. Justice is feeling important and heard and supported.
Right, and causing change.
And causing change. And he will stand up for anybody. He just told me there was a girl that messaged him. It breaks my heart. A 9-year-old. Her little brother was being bullied. And she messaged him. And Axel's like, Mom, what do I do? And I said, you message that person and you be you. You tell them.
Yep.
Be who you are, buddy. Like, I'm here. I've been through this. I've had people say I was the aggressor. Just tell your story and be supportive and shine, because you're right. In 5 years, Axel will be somewhere in something. And who knows where that other kid will be. That's not my job, but my job as Axel's mom is, just like you said, to support him and to get him through this. And the only way that I know how is to show them that there's support.
That they're not alone.
That they're not alone. Because I have a kid right now that feels that way.
I think a call to action. This is a call to action for everybody in the Lewiston school district. If you have children that are on IEPs and they're not being followed by the school itself or by any part of the administration, please speak up. Contact us.
Or bullied.
Yeah, or bullied. If you have children that are being bullied and you don't know what to do.
Gone to the administration and you're being ignored. I mean, anything. And I know everybody has a different story. I get it. I know that there's certain circumstances. Like, I get it. But none of it makes it right. None of it.
If you see an injustice in what's going on, an actual injustice, not feelings or emotion, but facts, reach out to us. Let us know. We won't put you on a video if you don't want to be. Don't worry about that. But just the more stories that we can get for this, then the more backup people like Axel have, the more things can get changed, because there's more people coming out and telling their story. So get a hold of us. That's the most important thing here. We all know there's issues within the school district, whatever they are. But we'll never ever get anything done unless we speak up about it. So that's my call to action.
Yeah.
You have anything else you want to say?
No, I hope something's done. I hope. Oops.
We'll keep everybody updated on this. Maybe not so much Axel himself, but the school district's failure to comply with IEPs and having some kind of protocol or a standard for situations like this.
Yeah, for kids that have to go out and be misplaced. That's exactly it. For kids that don't really fit that standard of what LHS has to offer. So when they do choose to go out to places like Tammany or Niche, that they can find support.
Why doesn't LHS have that service to offer? That's a big question there. And Superintendent, sir, I hope you do better in Kennewick than you do in Lewiston. Peace.